Welcome to Darktopia, where shadows whisper and nightmares come to life. Tonight, we bring you a tale of horror that will send chills down your spine. Are you ready to step into the darkness? Let the terror begin. Mark had always prided himself on his impeccable sense of direction. But that night, a sudden storm swept through the countryside, blinding him with torrential rain and howling winds. He found himself driving along a deserted road, the trees looming like dark sentinels on either side, their branches clawing at the sky. The headlights of his car struggled against the relentless downpour, casting ghostly shadows that danced in the wet darkness. After several minutes of driving and uncertainty, he noticed a signpost for a town he didn't recognize. The name, Ash Hollow, sent a chill down his spine. He had never heard of it, and there was no mention of it on his GPS. But the storm had intensified, and seeking shelter became his only priority. As he turned onto the dirt road leading into the town, the atmosphere shifted. The rain seemed to lighten, and an eerie silence fell over the landscape. The air felt thick, heavy with the scent of damp earth and something else, something metallic. Mark parked in front of an old gas station, its neon lights flickering like dying stars. The building appeared abandoned, but he could make out the faint outline of a figure through the grimy window. Hesitant yet desperate, he stepped out of his car, the cold water soaking through his shoes as he approached the door. To his surprise, it creaked open, revealing a dusty interior that smelled of mildew and decay. The figure inside was Liam, an old friend he hadn't seen in years, his face pale and eyes wide with fear. "Mark, what are you doing here?" Liam exclaimed, his voice trembling. "You shouldn't have come. This place is cursed." Confusion clouded Mark's mind. "Cursed? What are you talking about?" Liam's gaze darted around the dimly lit room, as if expecting something to jump out at any moment. He leaned closer and whispered, "The town is haunted by the spirit of a woman who died in a car accident years ago. They say she seeks revenge on anyone who stumbles into her territory." Mark scoffed, brushing aside the superstitions, but the knot in his stomach tightened. "Come on, Liam. It's just a story." But the flickering lights and oppressive silence weighed heavily on him. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and the lights flickered more violently, plunging them into darkness. Mark's heart raced as a chilling gust swept through the gas station, and he heard a low, mournful wail echoing through the air. The sound sent shivers down his spine, and he instinctively reached for Liam's arm. "What was that?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "We need to leave," Liam urged, his face pale. But as they stepped outside, the storm had returned with a vengeance, the rain pouring down as if the heavens themselves were angry. They sprinted back to the car, but as they fumbled with the keys, Mark noticed something strange. The gas station had vanished, replaced by thick woods that closed in around them like a dark embrace. Panic surged within him as he turned to Liam, who was staring into the distance, eyes wide with terror. "She's here," he murmured, his voice barely audible over the storm. "She's found us." Mark felt a cold chill creep up his spine as he followed Liam's gaze. Emerging from the shadows was a figure draped in white, her long hair soaked and tangled, her face obscured by darkness. The woman floated closer, her mouth twisted into a silent scream. That echoed in Mark's mind. The air grew heavy, and he could feel the weight of her anger pressing down on him. "We need to run," Mark shouted, but his legs felt routed to the ground, paralyzed by fear. In a flash of desperation, he yanked Liam's arm, and they bolted into the forest, branches whipping against their faces. The darkness swallowed them, but the sound of the woman's wails echoed behind them, urging them to move faster. As they sprinted through the underbrush, the trees seemed to shift, their trunks twisting and contorting, creating a maze that trapped them deeper in the woods. "Mark, we can't keep running." Liam gasped, his breath coming in ragged bursts. "We need to confront her." Mark shook his head. "You're insane. We'll die out here." But something deep inside him urged him to face the malevolent spirit. A voice whispering that understanding her pain might be their only chance of survival. Reluctantly, they slowed their pace, the fear still clawing at their hearts. Mark glanced around, desperate for any sign of a way out, but all he saw were the gnarled trees, their branches twisted like fingers reaching for them. Finally, he spotted a clearing up ahead, illuminated by the faint glow of moonlight. They stepped into the clearing, their hearts pounding as they turned to face the darkness behind them. The woman stood there, her eyes glowing with an otherworldly light, filled with sorrow and rage. Mark took a deep breath, summoning his courage. "We're sorry for what happened to you," he called out, his voice shaking but firm. "We didn't mean to intrude." The woman's expression shifted, the rage in her eyes fading into sorrow. "You don't understand," she whispered, her voice a haunting melody. "I was lost, trapped between worlds. I seek those who disturb my peace." Mark felt a pang of sympathy for her. "What can we do to help you?" he asked, desperate to find a way to appease her spirit. She floated closer, her form shimmering in the moonlight. "You must find the truth of my death. Only then will my spirit be free." With a wave of her hand, the forest transformed around them, revealing a vision of the past. A car crash, the sound of screeching tires, and her desperate scream as the world faded away. The vision subsided, and they found themselves back in the clearing, the woman watching them with expectant eyes. "You have to discover who was responsible for my death," she urged, her voice barely above a whisper. "Only then can you break the curse of Ash Hollow." Mark nodded, determination coursing through him. "We'll find out, we promise." With that, the woman nodded slowly, her form starting to dissolve into the night. "Remember, the truth lies within the town," she murmured before fading into the shadows. As dawn broke, the storm finally lifted, and Mark and Liam stood in the clearing, the weight of their mission heavy on their shoulders. They had a purpose now, a chance to set a tormented soul free and escape the clutches of Ash Hollow. With newfound resolve, they began their journey back to the town, ready to uncover the dark secrets that bound the ghost to the land, a journey that would lead them deeper into the mysteries of the past, where vengeance and redemption awaited. The haunting wails of the woman lingered in their minds, a reminder of the fragile boundary between life and death, and the lengths they would go to break the cycle of sorrow. The road ahead would be treacherous, but together, they would face the ghosts of the past, determined to bring peace to a restless spirit and reclaim their lives from the shadows of vengeance. You've made it through the darkness, for now, but remember, the shadows are always watching. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next story that haunts the night. Until next time, sleep, if you can.